Welcome back, ladies, gentlemen, and NBs, and thank you for tuning back into St. Andrew TV, a cure for your Monday blues. I'm your host, Andrew, and as you saw from the clip at the start of the video, I have no hair. But in all seriousness, we are doing another fancy gun spinning trick, and this is actually a variation of the road agent spin. However, you're starting from a firing position and kind of doing the road agent spin in reverse. The only thing that we are adding to this is we are incorporating our other hand, and it is meant to draw the hammer back when the revolver switch hands, and the hand that you were previously holding the gun with and you rolled it with is now fanning the hammer. And if done right, you can alternate hands very fluently, and that's exactly what we're going to do today. So with every gun spinning trick that you see on this channel, the first thing that we always do is we take our 6 gun, we place it in half cock, open up the loading gate, and we check if the revolver is empty. You don't do fancy gun spinning tricks with loaded guns, and especially with this gun spin today, because you're going to flash yourself quite consistently. Now as we get started, when I was in Deadwood, I actually saw Joey Dillon perform, and this was one of the tricks that I actually saw at his YouTube channel, but it got me to thinking, I don't have a personality, so I may as well just adopt Joey's. And like I said, this is something that I saw on his YouTube channel that I would take a stab at. It looks pretty easy, but when you incorporate both hands and having to be ambidextrous, that's one of the things that he did mention, is if you do gun spinning, be ambidextrous. Well, I hate to break it to you, Mr. Dillon, if you ever see this, I am not. So please forgive me for my poor left-handed efforts. As with all the gun spinning tricks, we will start out slow and then move into it, and then we'll start incorporating our off hand. So for the lefties, start in your left hand, and I can act as your mirror. But all we are going to do is get the first motion down. And that is let the nose of your gun fall forward and collect it with your 3 fingers. This is where things get a little bit different. You are actually going to turn your wrist over and get it up to a firing position. And this is where you bring your other hand into the picture. And as you release, grip that handle, and then the hand that you were just grabbing with is supposed to slide back and cock the gun. Ideally, you do this in a very fluent motion that looks something more like that, but for the sake of slowing it down and making sure that you get all the movement down correctly, that is what we're going to start with. Now let's incorporate the other hand, because you are going to end up over here, and then you're going to come back to your original hand. So you're going to do the same thing on this side, and this is where it gets challenging because I am right-handed. But you're going to do the same thing, turn your wrist over, bring the other hand over, slide your hand up, cock the gun. It will take you a good hour to 2 hours to figure this out, like it did for me. I sat there, and the first time you see it quickly, without it slowed down, it looks like the physical embodiment of Latin. We don't understand that, unless there's any Latin speakers watching today, which I severely doubt, but hello if you're watching. So we are going to speed this up, and then we will do it from the side just like we always do. Drop the gun down, turn it over, and cock. Now with that being said, I am not going to fan this revolver. This thing has seen better days, and I'm sure that the springs are begging me not to swipe the hammer and just to have it come right back up and hit nothing. So I'm just going to sweep my hand over it and continue the fluent movements that we are doing here today. But you consistently do that. Don't flash yourself too much, and you can get a pretty good rhythm going like I have here. And once you kind of get the original movements down, you can start tightening it up. You don't have to bring it down here and swoop it. You don't have to do any unnecessary movements once you get the movements down. You can tighten it up and keep it right in front of your chest. That is ideally what we're going to try and do. So now that we have the basic understanding of what we're doing, I'm going to try and speed it up and give you, 10 seconds of fluidity. We are going to try to keep a nice, consistent flow right in my chest, and hopefully we don't use any unnecessary movements and all that, but who knows? I am not Joey Dillon. I am just Andrew. Looks something like that, right? That is about as best as we've done to the present. So we are going to move to the side and we are going to do it all over again. And even at the end, I'm going to try to bring the camera in, or I'm actually going to walk towards the camera because it's right there. And I'm going to try to get you a really, really close angle right here of what I'm doing to the best of my abilities. But first, let's go over here. Here's a good way to look at what you're doing when you're bringing the gun up like that. Release, come back and fan. And now with the left hand, you can see the inside of my arm here. Let it go, bring it up, and do the same thing. Now we're going to try to do it full speed from the side here. Hopefully I can get a 3, 3, 4, 8, nice, fluid 6 of the spin that we were doing today. And that's all there really is to this fancy gun spinning trick. Now, don't take it lightly because it took me a good long second to figure out how to do this one, because you have to be ambidextrous. And that's precisely why I chose this one here today. I am not nearly as good with my left hand as I am with my right. So I taught myself a little bit more today than I usually show you here on Fancy Gun Spinning Tricks. It's also pretty exhausting to juggle a 2.5 pound gun back and forth through your hands, and I'm sweating a little bit. It's 111 here in Arizona today, so there's a lot that goes into it. So whoever says gun spinning isn't physically demanding, you can tell them to shove it. Thank you to everyone who's gotten this far into the video. Please leave a like if you've enjoyed today's video, or leave me a comment stating what you liked, or tell me what I should do next. There's a Patreon that is linked down in the description, or it should be appearing at the bottom of your screen. I am community funded and community funded only, so if you would like to continue supporting St. Andrew TV, please feel free to leave a donation, but only if your means allow you to do so. The content on YouTube will forever remain free. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed as of late, but for those of you who have come across this channel or this video, maybe because you like Wild West content, maybe you wanted to learn a new fancy gun spinning trick, or maybe you just stopped by because you wanted to see my fresh cut, think about hitting that subscribe button, because you're a daisy if you do.